Across the rolling plains of Africa, where the horizon seems endless and the air trembles with heat, a strange and graceful creature moves among the acacia trees. Its head drifts above the branches like a ship's sail on a golden sea. This is the giraffe, nature's tallest creation, once thought by early explorers to be a blend of camel and leopard. Its beauty is undeniable, but its proportions defy logic. A neck stretching more than 2 meters, legs like pillars, and a heart that must pump blood to a brain perched nearly 6 meters above the ground. Why did evolution build something so extreme? Every giraffe alive today carries the result of millions of years of subtle change. Its ancestors were shorter, stockier, less graceful, creatures that once roamed forests rather than open plains. Over time, small advantages favored slightly longer necks. Generation after generation, those advantages compounded until the savanna gained its towering sentinel. For decades, the explanation seemed simple. Longer necks meant access to leaves other animals could not reach, especially during drought. Those who browsed higher survived. Those who could not perished. It was the perfect illustration of natural selection, the survival of the tallest. Yet evolution rarely writes with such a neat hand. Field studies show giraffes feed at many heights, from ground level to the treetops, hinting that hunger alone may not tell the whole story. Their extraordinary height may also reflect competition, attraction, and the physics of combat, a theory we will explore soon. But first we must ask where this remarkable neck began. Millions of years ago, Africa looked very different. Forests covered much of the continent, and in their shaded depths lived the ancestors of today's giraffes, members of the wider giraffe family, the Giraffidae. Among them were short-necked browsers and early experiments in height. From that ancient lineage, one branch began to stretch upward, the beginning of a transformation that would unfold over eons. It was here that the story of the giraffe's long neck truly began. To understand how the giraffe became the planet's tallest animal, we must first look at its relatives, those who came before. The giraffe is not an evolutionary accident standing alone. It belongs to an ancient lineage, the Giraffidae, a family that once spread across Africa and Eurasia. Today, only 2 members survive, the towering giraffe and its elusive forest cousin, the okapi. Side by side, they reveal a story written in bone and time. The okapi, discovered by Western science barely a century ago, seems a creature from another world, striped like a zebra, built like a small giraffe, hidden in the dark rainforests of the Congo. Its short neck and secretive life hint at what giraffes once were, forest browsers rather than open plain sentinels. In the okapi's quiet movements, we glimpse a living echo of an ancient form. Fossils trace their story across 25 million years. Early species, like Canthomeryx circensis, were modest in height, built for speed and browsing among shrubs. Later, Paleotragus and Samotherium show necks gradually lengthening, each vertebra stretched a little more than the last. Evolution rarely leaps. It climbs in increments, generation by generation. These fossils record each rung of that climb. Even as necks lengthened, the giraffid skeleton kept its fundamental design. 7 cervical vertebrae, the same number found in nearly every mammal. Evolution achieved length not by adding bones but by stretching them, each vertebra elongated and reinforced, while powerful muscles anchored the neck to the spine and shoulders. The result: reach without fragility, height without collapse. From dense forests to open plains, from short-necked ancestors to giants that touch the trees, the family of giraffids adapted as Africa itself changed. As the continent's climate dried and forests gave way to grassland, height became both opportunity and challenge. Those who could see above the scrub saw danger sooner, found food farther, and stood as living watchtowers of evolution. The age of the long-necked giants had begun. As Africa's climate shifted millions of years ago, dense forests gave way to open savannas. Trees became sparser, and food, especially in the dry season, was harder to find. In this new landscape, height offered a distinct advantage. Giraffes could browse where no other herbivore could reach, the tender, nutrient-rich leaves of the acacia tree. The traditional explanation was simple and elegant. Longer necks meant better access to food. Over time, natural selection favored those who could reach higher, survive droughts, and pass their traits to the next generation. Acacias defend themselves with vicious thorns and chemical toxins, yet giraffes have adapted beautifully. Their tongues, half a meter long and darkly pigmented, are tough and flexible enough to strip leaves without injury. Their lips resist thorns. Their saliva neutralizes tannins. Each bite, each reach, is a small victory in the arms race between plant and browser. By browsing higher than any competitor, giraffes avoided direct food competition. While zebras and antelopes grazed near the ground, giraffes exploited a completely different layer of the ecosystem, a vertical world of their own. This feeding niche likely helped them thrive when drought struck and resources dwindled. But as scientists observed wild giraffes more closely, a problem emerged. Giraffes spend almost half their feeding time at or below shoulder height. If survival alone drove their evolution, why stretch so far beyond what's necessary? The data suggested something more complex. Seasonal changes influence where giraffes feed. During lush months, they graze lower because food is abundant. During dry seasons, they rise to the treetops. So while long necks do help in times of scarcity, they may not be the full story. Some scientists began to look elsewhere, not to the trees, but to the giraffes themselves, for the true driver of evolution. In the wild, height is not just for feeding, it's for fighting. Male giraffes battle for dominance by swinging their necks like sledgehammers, striking with their skulls in contests called necking. The longer and heavier the neck, the stronger the blow. For the victor, the reward is access to females and the chance to pass on his genes. Could it be that evolution stretched the giraffe's neck not just for survival, but for love? Across the African plains, battles are fought not only with claws or horns, but with the sheer weight of anatomy itself. Among male giraffes, dominance is decided through a display unlike anything else in the animal kingdom, a ritual of power known as necking. It is combat turned into choreography. Two males stand side by side, their towering forms swaying in silence. And then, with sudden force, they swing their necks like sledgehammers. The skull, heavy and reinforced, acts as a weapon. Males with longer necks and denser skulls deliver harder blows, capable of staggering or even knocking down rivals. These duels rarely end in death, but the consequences are clear. The victor gains access to fertile females. The defeated withdraws, bloodied but alive. In evolution, victory is measured not in trophies, but in offspring. These contests may look violent, yet they are deeply ritualized, a blend of aggression and restraint that ensures the species endures without destruction. Observing these behaviors in the wild led biologists to propose an alternative theory to the feeding hypothesis: sexual selection. The idea that the giraffe's long neck evolved not primarily for food, but for competition among males. The neck, in this view, became both a weapon and a signal of strength, an evolutionary advertisement of fitness. Supporting evidence lies within the skull itself. Males possess thicker ossicones and reinforced bone structure compared to females. Their neck muscles are heavier and the vertebrae slightly more massive. These adaptations are unnecessary for feeding, but ideal for combat. Natural selection may have laid the groundwork, sexual selection finished the design. As the dust settles, balance returns to the herd. Females watch quietly, grazing beneath acacia trees, while the dominant male resumes his watch, his long neck rising above the plains like a living monument to competition and endurance. The evolution of the giraffe's neck, it seems, is not a single story of reaching higher, but a complex tale of feeding, fighting, and surviving in a world shaped by scarcity and struggle. Yet behind the spectacle of power lies another mystery: how such a massive creature survives its own height. In the next segment, we uncover the hidden engineering inside the giraffe's body, the anatomy that makes the impossible possible. From a distance, the giraffe appears effortless, serene, weightless, perfectly balanced upon the earth. But inside its body, physics rages a constant battle. To live at such height is to defy gravity itself. A giraffe's heart must lift blood more than 2 meters against the pull of the planet, a feat of pressure and precision unmatched in any other land animal. The solution is power. A giraffe's heart weighs more than 11 kilograms and generates nearly twice human blood pressure, around 250 millimeters of mercury. Its left ventricle walls are thicker than a human's by a factor of 3, built to push blood upward through 2 meters of vertical artery. Valves along the jugulars act as one-way gates, preventing blood from falling back toward the chest. Each beat is a triumph of biological engineering, yet the same system that keeps blood flowing upward creates a deadly risk when the giraffe lowers its head. If nothing intervened, the sudden rush of blood could burst delicate vessels in the brain. Nature provides an answer: the rete mirabile, a fine network of elastic arteries at the skull's base that cushions and equalizes pressure. When the head lowers, blood collects in this mesh, slowing flow like a natural hydraulic brake. When raised again, valves close instantly, restoring the upward surge. Even in its legs, the giraffe faces gravitational challenge. The pressure at its hooves is enormous, enough to rupture capillaries in any lesser animal. But the giraffe's lower limbs are wrapped in tight, connective sheaths, acting like compression stockings. This prevents blood from pooling and swelling, maintaining circulation no matter how long it stands. Evolution has sculpted not only its form, but its hydraulics. Every heartbeat, every step, is a reminder of the fine line between possibility and collapse. The giraffe's frame is not merely tall. It is an alliance of bone, muscle, and pressure tuned to perfection. In conquering height, the giraffe reinvented the mammalian blueprint. But evolution's story does not end with anatomy. In the next segment, we follow the fossil record to watch this design emerge, one vertebra at a time, from ancestors long vanished into dust. Evolution leaves traces, fragments of bone, echoes of shape, scattered across stone and time. To trace the giraffe's rise, scientists follow this fossil trail across 25 million years, from the humid forests of the early Miocene to the sun-bleached savannas of today. Among the oldest giraffes lies Canthomeryx cirtensis, a small deer-like browser no taller than a horse. Its neck was short, its proportions unremarkable, but within its bones lay the potential for transformation. Over millions of years, its descendants began to stretch. The mid-Miocene genus Paleotragus shows the first signs, a more upright posture, slightly elongated neck bones. Then came Samotherium, living about 7 million years ago, with cervical vertebrae that bridged the gap between ancient browsers and the modern giraffe. In Samotherium, we see evolution mid-step, a neck neither short nor long, perfectly in between, a fossil snapshot of adaptation in progress. Vertebra by vertebra, the bones tell a continuous story. Each generation added length by subtly reshaping bone ends, turning horizontal joints vertical, increasing overlap for strength. The spinal canal adapted to maintain flexibility while preventing collapse. Evolution is patient, sculpting the improbable 1 millimeter at a time. Not all giraffes reached for the sky. Some, like Civatherium, grew broader rather than taller, a ground-shaking relative built for power, not height. It stood over 2 meters at the shoulder, with enormous ossicones like branching antlers. When it vanished around 1 million years ago, only one lineage remained, leaner, taller, and better adapted to open plains, Giraffe, the true giraffe. From small forest browsers to the giants we see today, the giraffe's neck grew not in a single leap, but in countless steps, each recorded in stone. The fossils remind us that evolution is both sculptor and storyteller, and that even the strangest forms can arise from simple beginnings. In the next and final chapter, we return to the living savanna to see what this long-necked legacy means in the world of today. In the light of evening, the giraffe's long shadow stretches across the savanna, a living monument to evolution's patience. Each stride, each heartbeat, carries the memory of 25 million years. From the forests of the Miocene to the grasslands of today, the giraffe's story is written not only in fossils, but in survival. Yet this story, like so many others, now faces its greatest challenge. Once common across much of Africa, giraffe populations have fallen by nearly 40% in the past 3 decades. Habitat loss, poaching, and human expansion have fractured the wide spaces they need to roam. In some regions, subspecies hover on the edge of extinction. What evolution built over millions of years can vanish in a single human lifetime. Conservationists now recognize at least 4 distinct species of giraffe, each adapted to its own region, from the reticulated giraffes of Kenya to the Maasai, the southern and the northern species. Protecting them requires not only preserving habitat, but also reconnecting fragmented populations, maintaining the genetic diversity that evolution once freely shaped across continents. Across Africa, conservationists, local communities, and scientists work together to safeguard these icons of the plains. Satellite collars track migration routes. Reforestation restores feeding grounds. Education turns conflict into coexistence. Each act of care is a small step, another adaptation, this time of humanity, to protect what nature so carefully created. The giraffe reminds us that greatness in nature is not just a matter of power or speed, but of balance, grace, and persistence. Its neck is a bridge between past and present, between survival and beauty. And in its gaze, high above the plains, we glimpse the long reach of life itself, stretching forever toward the sky.